I met a woman who was an ultra runner. That's what it's called when you run something more than a marathon. And when she told me she was doing 100-mile races, I literally told her, that's stupid. Why would anyone want to do that? And I said, but I'd like to do a marathon. And even after running my first marathon, I kind of thought that I was checking the box and it was done, until my husband said, well, you don't want to be the person that's just run a marathon. You want to say that you've run marathons. So you should at least do one more, because then you add the S. And I was like, you're right, the S, that sounds great, And then once I ran my first marathon, then of course running my second marathon, I wanted to beat my last time. And so after running a few marathons for time, then all of a sudden I'm like, I really want to run Boston. So then running Boston became my goal. Well, then I achieved that goal. And I realized that grind of running fast like that didn't feed my soul. I was proud of myself. And I think when you're running, you either choose, am I going to run faster or farther? And the faster thing, it just wasn't my jam. My brain started tossing around the idea of, well, what would it look like if I ran a 50K? I mean, that's only 6 more miles, right? And so that's when the transition started to happen, where I took the marathoning and moved into the idea of ultra running. And once I ran my first 50K, I ran my second 50K 2 weeks later. Excessive much? Maybe. But then once you run the 50K, then that 50 miler just seems that much more in reach. And then you run the 50 miler and you don't die, right? And you might be limping for a little bit, but at the end you're like, wow, what if I could go farther? And then I started looking at races in crazy places, like in Death Valley, running Badwater 135. And that to me was like the holy grail. If I could just get to Badwater, then my soul would feel complete. And then you get there and your soul feels complete, but I still want another goal. And so I just found that for me, the 100-mile race was where I found the most soul searching. It was where I was able to look deep into myself, where it took every bit of who I thought I was and stripped me down to the very core. That part where you're most vulnerable, and the part that you don't want to show people, because you're too busy putting on a happy face and telling everyone I'm okay and today's great. And it takes you there, and then you have to find out, how am I going to put myself back together? And you realize you can't truly do it on your own. And that's the part that's also so beautiful, is you have all these people that are there supporting you along the way. And in those lessons and in those times where I just allowed myself to just be broken, I was able to fix things that I had shoved away in these little compartments my entire life. All those skeletons that everybody never talks about, right? This forced me to take the skeleton and stare it straight in the face and say, it's you or me, and I choose me today. And with that, the 100-mile race is it for me. I know how many miles are between me and the next aid station. I know that the cutoff of the race is 30 hours. So I either make it to that finish line in under 30 hours or they make me get off the course. So there's a determined set start and finish line. The difference is, with the 100-miler and real life, is that when the pain gets going, I control it. I get to call it when it's quits. I have total control. It's not something that happened to me. It's not somebody that did something to me or said something to me, or pain that was inflicted on me by someone else's choosing. This is one that I chose. I trained for it. I put myself there. I selected the support crew, and I get to choose when it ends. Me, and only me. And there's something very empowering about that. And once you do that, you realize I still have that same control in real life too. And even with the running though, it still doesn't stop that feeling of desperation from sinking in. I mean, real life is hard, and the nice thing about running is it is the perfect escape. And so with running, even with all those miles and all of those accomplishments, there were still things. And running wasn't completely fixing it, So I had to start asking myself those questions, like, what do I have to do to get myself back in line so that I feel good again? I had to just say, okay, running is helping, but I need to get control of everything. And so in setting certain goals with my running, but then also seeking help from professionals and saying, okay, I might need to additionally go talk to someone. Running a race like 100 miles is like opening up one of the greatest storybooks of your lifetime. And you might have an idea because somebody's recommended it to you, like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest story ever. And it's about this kind of, but I don't want to give anything away, right? But then you open it, and each page you turn, there's joy, and there's love, and there's passion, and there's heartache, and there's pain, and there's conflict, and there's, demons, and there's obstacles, and there's achievement. And it's like, you just keep flipping the pages. And I would say sometimes you get to a page and you have to reread a section over and over again because you're not understanding it, or maybe you're getting too tired that you're falling over the pages. But at some point you have to decide to flip the page. And to me, that's kind of the journey of ultra running. It's like this great epic novel, but you get to be the star. So I would say the best way that I could explain it is just imagine taking your journey of life in a storybook and then having the glory of opening the pages and reading it for yourself, and then being completely surprised by what you have by the end.